Okay, guys. So yesterday we have gone through the basic syntaxes to define data objects. Also, we have observed how to define data objects using data elements, right? So today we'll explore data selection statements, reading data from database tables, right? That might be a custom table or standard table. We can read data from a database. For that, which statement we use? Select statement. Okay, so we can read data from database table and we can store the data in the data objects in program level, right? That can be variable, work area, or internal table. When we use variable,
When we need only one field.
yes. So let's say we have an employee table, right? There we need to select only employee name. You don't want rest of the fields like city, phone number, anything. Then we can use a variable. In the other scenario, if you need to read a complete record, for example, employee ID, employee name, and city. In this case, which data objects we need to take?
Work
Work
area.
area.
Work area. First, we need to define the structure with these three fields which are required. That can be a type structure or a data dictionary structure, or we have another concept, advanced concept called inline declarations. You don't need to define any structure. You can directly select the data. It will automatically create the work area or internal tables. Okay. Now, in a database table, how many records we are going to maintain? Is it a single record or multiple records?
Multiple records.
Multiple
Multiple
records,
records.
right? Multiple records. So depends on the. Let me provide you an example here. When selecting the data, sometimes we use work area, right? When we use work area, when we are expecting single record or
Single
multiple
record.
record, only one
Single record.
record. When we go for internal table,
Multiple records.
we are expecting one or more records. Then we need to use a internal table. But how can we choose that? How do you know whether I'm going to get only single record or multiple records from the table when you are writing the select statement?
Based on primary key, sir.
Yes, let me show you the example. If you are selecting data by primary key, right? How many records you are going to expect every month? Sorry, every time you are selecting your data by primary key. Always one record, right? Because for each primary key there will be only one valid record available, right?
Yes, sir.
Let me create an example. Let me add more fields to this. city. For city I am using standard data element. What else? City,
Phone
body
number.
name city, phone number. I'm trying to search for the standard data elements. Yeah, there is one standard data element. I'm just using this ZDE phone. Maybe I'll use this.
Date of joining.
Date of joining. DOJ. There is one standard, there is one custom data element someone has already created. DE date of joining. Okay. Activate the table. Is there any maintenance screen? Yes, I think we have to regenerate it. Why we need to regenerate it? Because we have added.
We have changed the
Yeah,
fields.
changed the.
We are adding.
Added the fields. Since we no fields in the table, continue overview screen, and they are not key fields, normal fields. Continue. Save it. Go to SM30 and maintain some data. Phone number. Okay. These records are enough for our example. I think city is blank. Save. Okay, these records are enough for our example. Okay, this is our data, right? The data available in table. We have how many records? 5 records available, right? So when I am saying I am going to select the data from the database, there should be some condition, right? Which record you want to select,
Employees.
or what are the records you want to select? There should be some condition, right? You need to say, hey, I want a record with city Hyderabad, or you need to say, hey, I want the records with the date of joining, so on, so on, right? Hey, I need a record with employee ID, some EMP 100, right? You need to provide some criteria, right, for the data selection, or you are going to select everything, all the records. If you are selecting all the records, you don't need to provide any of such conditions. But usually we don't select all the records. Select only required records, right? For that, we need to provide some condition. If you provide employee ID as condition, how many records you are going to expect?
Only one single
Only
record.
one
One
record.
record.
Only one record, because employee ID is the primary key here in this table. Since you are providing primary key value as a condition, it is always you are going to pass one employee ID. It is always unique, right? Employee ID records are unique, right, in the table. So you are going to get only one single record. Let's say you are passing city as condition. How many
One or
records
more
we
record.
expect? One or more, right?
One or
Yeah, there is a chance
More.
of multiple records, right? Because city is a non-primary key, non-primary key field. It contains repeated values. If you observe, right? If you select city equal to Hyderabad, how many records we are going to get? 3 records, right?
Three
Three
records.
records.
Sorry. Or if you
Three
provide
records.
city as Chennai, how many records you are going to expect?
One record.
1 record.
One record.
In that, but we are not sure, right? In future, there might be more employees with the same city. There is a chance, right? We can add one or more records we can expect when we select data using non-primary key fields, right? We can expect one or more records. So when we are selecting data using non-primary key fields, what is the suitable data object? Is it work area or internal table?
internal table.
Internal
Internal
table.
table, because when you are selecting data using non-primary key fields, you can get multiple records, right? But when we are selecting data from primary key field, when you are selecting data using primary key field, in this case, what is the data object we can use?
Work
Work
area.
area.
Work area.
Work area.
Work area, right? But you need to make sure you are using all primary keys of the table. Here we have only one primary key, but you need to make sure you need to use all primary keys of the table, because let me show you another table. If you take employee salary table, we have employee ID and month as primary keys. If you are just passing employee ID in the condition, are we going to get a unique record? If you just pass employee
No,
ID,
sir.
no, right? Because for the same employee, there will be multiple records for different months, right? If you pass
Yes, sir.
only employee ID as condition, right? You are not going to expect a unique record. There is a chance of multiple records. In this case, you have to use internal table.
Internal table.
But when we are using both employee ID and month, then when you are passing both employee ID and month, hey, I need employee ID 100 with month March. You are providing that condition for the both fields. Then what will happen?
Single record.
Yeah, we can expect a single record,
Single record.
right? We can expect a single record because we are passing both primary keys. Okay. So we have to do that analysis before writing our select statements. Now let's see how many select like how to write select statements. Select single. So what is the select single statement used for? To read
Single record.
Single record.
Single
from the
record.
Single record.
database table. Okay. So what is the rule to use select single? All the primary keys of the
Where
table
condition.
should be passed in the
Condition all
table.
primary.
Primary keys.
All the primary keys should be passed in the where condition. What is where condition? What is where condition? Here we provide selection criteria.
To read single record.
Selection criteria, right?
Condition.
We provide the condition or selection criteria. Okay. By using where condition, you can provide that selection criteria. Hey, I want employee ID 100 record. Hey, I want all the employees whose city is Hyderabad. You are going to provide that condition here, right? Let me show you how this condition works. The table level I will show you. Display contents. Now here we have this is selection criteria, right? So depends on the selection criteria. You can also see all the records by executing. These are all the records of the table, but you want to filter the data. Enter Hyderabad. Now how many records you can expect? 3 records, right? How to provide the condition here? Where city equal to Hyderabad. This is how it works in the background. Where city equal to Hyderabad, right? Or you can also provide multiple fields in the condition. If you provide like this, how many records you got?
Record.
Only one record, right?
Single record.
Because you are filtering the data by using
Yes.
2 fields, employee ID
Right.
and city, right?
City.
When we are using primary key in the condition, non-primary keys doesn't make any sense, right? Because you already know what you need. A unique employee ID, you know, right? So you can, when you are filtering the data, so you can also use non-primary keys, multiple non-primary key fields are where condition to filter the data, right? By city and date of join I'm using here, where city equal to Hyderabad and date of join is this, right? So when please remember, whenever you are writing the select statement, so what is the recommendation? You should filter the data as much as possible by using multiple fields or preferably primary key, right? Because if you are not filtering the data properly, then you are going to select a huge amount of records from a database to which layer? Where we write the
Application
programs,
layer.
application layer, right? You are unnecessarily selecting lot of data from database layer to application layer. If you are selecting lot of data, size of the data will be more, right? The data transfer also takes time, right? Depends on the size of the data from database to application layer. It will take time to execute. Okay, that's why SAP always recommends select only required data with proper where condition, preferably primary keys. If you are using primary keys, mostly you are going to get unique records, right? Okay, so when we are using select single, what is the condition or what is the rule? All primary keys of the table should be passed in the where condition. Okay, if the table contains only one primary key, pass only one primary key. The table contains multiple primary keys, pass multiple primary keys in the where condition. So what is the use of where condition? To filter the
To
data,
filter
right? To
filter the
filter the
data.
data of the table. Okay, by using where condition, we can say what are all the records we are expecting from the database table. So what is the syntax of select single statement? Select single star. What do you mean by select single star? What is the meaning of star here? Star means select all the fields. Select all the fields. Let's take this table. How many fields we have in this table? 5, right?
Five,
1, 2, 3, 4,
five
5.
records.
When you are using select star, select single star, what is the meaning of that? Hey, I want single record. I want single record with all the fields. With all the fields, right? Star means I want all the all the fields of the table in that record. Employee ID, employee name, city, phone number, and date of join. Right? In some cases, we select a single record with required fields. With required fields. In that case, what we need to use? Instead of star, you have to mention the specific field names here, which you want to select. Okay, but when you use select single star, it will select a single record and with all the fields. That record will contain all the fields. From table name, okay, we are selecting a single record. So we are using star, that means all the fields of the table. From which table? Provide the database table name. So once the data is selected, where we need to keep the data? Into which one? Work area. WA underscore EMP data. What next? You have to provide the condition, right? Which what is that single record you are expecting? How can you provide the condition? Where? What is your condition here? We are using select single, right? What is the rule to use select single? We should pass the primary key fields. EMP ID is the primary key, right? In our table, EMP ID, where EMP ID equal to some value. You can pass the parameter or any hard-coded value. That's up to your. Mostly we pass parameters. Okay.
Employee
Employee ID and employee ID value. What do you mean by star? When we use star, when we are selecting all the fields of the table, right? So in that record, it will contain all the fields. Fields in the sense like this. Right? We need one more as per our table. DOJ, right? So now what is this? Select star. Select single star. But what is other syntax? Let me show you. Select single empid name DOJ from where empid equal to. Now what is the meaning of this? We are not using star here.
Require field.
Yes. So here we are selecting only required fields. We are not selecting all the fields of the table in that record. So that record would be like this. Data of child. You are selecting a single record with only 3 fields. That record contains only 3 fields. Right? So please remember, it is always recommended to select only required fields, not all the fields of the table. Because if you are selecting all the fields, it will increase the size of the data, right? That's why it is always recommended select only required fields. Don't go for select single star or select star, right? Until unless you need all the fields of the table, you are going to use all the fields of the table. Because if you take Mara table, how many fields there in the Mara table? Almost 300 plus fields, right? So we may not use
Sir.
all those fields in our program or in our logic. We may use only 10-20 fields, right? In that case, don't use select single star. Select only required fields. Okay? Clear? Before using work area, we need to define the work area, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
How to define work area in these two scenarios? For the first scenario, data, WA underscore EMP data, type. What is the type we need to take in the first example? In the first syntax, when we are using select star, select single star, we can
Set
take
demo employee.
table reference. Okay,
Table name.
entire table reference we can take, because we are using star here. That means all the fields of the table, just like how it is in the table, right? You can define your work area using a table reference. How about second one? How about second one? How can you define work area for this? Because we are selecting only required fields, right? We are not selecting all the fields. Can we directly use table for the work area declaration?
No,
No,
sir.
No,
sir.
we cannot
Can we
use.
use where condition here?
We are already using where condition, right? Where condition is common. Where condition is same for both select statements. But what is the difference? Here we are selecting only required fields, not all the fields, using select single star. In this case, how to define the work area? Now our work area should contains only these three fields, right? Not all the fields of the table. If you take table reference, it will define a work area with all the fields available in the table, right? But now in my example, I want only these three fields in my work area. For that, what we can do? We can define a type structure and use the type structure for the work area declaration, or create data dictionary structure with these three fields and use the data dictionary structure to define the work area. Clear? Is everyone clear? Now, to define this, what
Yes,
we
sir.
need to do? We need to
Yes,
create
sir.
a type structure. Types begin of ty underscore emp data, emp data, emp id, type zdemo. What is the data element of this one?
ZDemo EMP ID.
Zdemo emp id.
ZDemo EMP
Some data
name.
element. So
Yes.
doj, right? Type corresponding data element. Okay. And how we are going to define it? Data
Data
w underscore
work
emp data, work area name, and type. What is the type we need to take here? Table name or type
structure
structure?
name
The type
Table.
structure what we have
Structure
created.
name.
Structure name.
Yeah, the type structure what we
ty
have created with
underscore
the three required fields, right? Type ty underscore emp data. Okay, so this is how we define work area when we are selecting only required fields. So what is the alternative for this type structure? Create a structure. You know, right? What is structure? Data dictionary. DDIC means data dictionary. So what is a structure? Group
It
of
is
fields, right?
group of
We can
fields.
create in SC11, right?
That
Create a
Yes,
data
sir.
dictionary structure and use that structure name as a reference here. In that structure, maintain these three fields. Okay? Here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So let me show you the other thing also. Selected multiple records. Now, how to select multiple records from table to which one we take here? Internal table or work area?
Internal table.
Internal table.
Here also, here there is no mandatory rule that you have to pass all the primary keys, right? But it is recommended. But passing primary keys is not mandatory, okay? But to improve the performance, so we can pass primary keys. In some scenario, you don't have any primary key values to pass as a criteria, then we are going with non-primary key fields. Okay, passing values for primary key fields are not mandatory here, but it is recommended. Okay, now let's see the syntax. How to write the syntax? First we need to define it, right? How to define internal table? Data, some internal table name. Internal table name can be anything which is you have to provide some meaningful name. That is only mandatory. Okay, always provide some meaningful name. Type standard table of which one? Now I want to select all the fields, multiple records, and that each record contains all the fields. Then which one I can take? I can take
Table name.
complete
Table name. ZDemo employee.
yes, complete table reference I can take. I'm trying to select multiple records, and I'm expecting all the fields in each record. Okay, each record should contains all the fields. Now how to write the select statement? Select star from zdemo employee into table which one? IT underscore
ZDev.
EMP data, internal table name. So here what is the difference? We have to use a additional keyword called into table. When you are selecting data into internal tables, you need to use this syntax into table. Okay. Sorry. And condition, right? You have to provide the condition, right? And it is not mandatory. Where is not mandatory? You can stop it here till here using dot. But what happens? It will select all the records from the table if you don't provide the where condition. Okay. Where, for example, city equal to some value. Okay. Now it will select multiple records and each record contains all the fields of the table, whatever the fields available in the table, right? Clear? Now to define internal table with required fields, with only selected fields, how can you define that? With only selected fields. How to define the internal table? Data
Data. Internal table.
what we need to take here, the reference structure, is it a table name?
Structure name, sir.
We need to
Structure
take
name.
the
Sure.
structure name. We have already created a type structure, right, with required fields. If you want only these required fields, use the same type structure name. Otherwise, create a new type structure with required fields and use that here. Okay. Then corresponding select statement would be emp id, emp name, sorry, date of join, from, into table, which one? IT, emp, data, where city equal to. Now we are going to select multiple records with only required fields. Each record contains only the required field, like this, right? This is using star. Clear? Is everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
Now let's create the program. We have a table with some data. We'll take this custom table as example. What is the transaction code to create programs?
SC38.
SC38. Create the table. Executable program, save it in the local package. Now the first statement of the program is report statement. It will automatically generate, right? Now let's let's see select single, how to select a single record, right? For that we need some input, right? For that we need some input, right? Because the where condition is recommended to select the single record, but because you need to say, right, what is that single record you are expecting. So we can write with, let's take a parameter. What is the use of parameters? Parameters.
You'll have
To
to
provide the input values.
Yeah, we can enter inputs, right? User can enter inputs by using parameters. What is the syntax for the parameters? To define the parameters, parameter name. This can be any name, some meaningful name, right? Type. What is the type we need to take? The corresponding data element. So, or
Character.
you can also define like this: C, type C, length 10. You can also define like this. Or if it is phone number, let's assume it is phone number n, length 10, right? Since we are already having data elements, reusable data types, we can directly use the data element name, zdemo employee ID, right? We have defined a parameter to enter the user inputs so that they can select required employee ID. Activate this and check is that parameter working or not. So it is parameter is displaying here. What we need to maintain? Label text for the parameter. How to maintain label text? In go to
Text
menu,
element.
text elements, selection texts, maintain the label, employee ID. So parameters can accept a single value as input. Okay, it is similar to variable. It can accept only single value. Yes.
Sorry, how did you maintain that label? Sorry,
Yeah.
can you show one?
Yeah, sure. So when we define the parameters or select options, input parameters, it will display technical name initially. So to maintain the field labels, go to and text elements. Here we have selection text. Here you need to maintain that label text and activate this.
Oh,
Once you activate this,
okay.
label text will be displayed like this. Okay.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
And in parameters, we have multiple options. Do you want to make it this parameter as a mandatory input or optional? If you want to make it mandatory so that user cannot proceed further without entering this value, it won't let the user to execute the program. What we need to do?
obligatory.
Now activate it. Check the selection screen. You can observe this red star symbol, right? That means it is a mandatory input. I'll just try to execute what it is saying. Make an entry in mandatory field employee ID. It won't let you execute the program without providing the value. Okay, but if you want to make it optional, don't use obligatory. Okay, what are the other options available? We can also provide some default values in the parameter like this using default keyword. It will automatically display some default value. You can also change this value if you want. Okay, clear? Again, these two are optional, obligatory and default. So use when you want to make it mandatory or you want to pass any default values. Okay, otherwise these two are optional. You don't need to use. Okay. Now, what is the next step? We have the input. Now let's try to select the data from employee master table, and where we need to keep the data which we selected, where we need to keep the data. We need a data object, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
What type of
Yes,
data
sir.
object we need here?
Work area.
Variable, work area, or internal table?
Work area.
Which one is suitable here? Work area. Why? Because what is your input here?
Because we are selecting single record.
What is your input here?
Employee ID.
Employee ID
Employee
is
ID.
your input, right?
Employer ID.
For each employee ID, how many records you can find in this table?
One record, sir.
Single.
Only one record, because employee ID is the primary key, only primary key, right? You can find only unique employee IDs. If you are passing one employee ID, you can fetch only a single record for that employee ID. Now we are very sure about that, right? Then to maintain that single record, what is a suitable data object? Work
Work
area.
area.
Yeah.
Now you need to think about one more thing. Are we selecting all the fields of the table in that single record? Do we need employee ID, employee name, city, phone and DOJ, or only specific fields? For example, employee ID, city and date of join. I don't want rest of the two fields. You need to think that. If you are selecting all the fields, define like this. Data, WA underscore EMP data, type ZDemo employee. Right? I declared the work area. Now I can select data into this work area. Now we are referring to the table, right? That means it will create work area with all the fields of the table, whatever is available in this table, right? Now let's select single, because I am selecting a single record. I know I am going to select every time I am going to select a single record, because I am using primary key field star from ZDemo employee into which one? Work area. Keep the data into work area. And what is the condition? I'm breaking this into next line, right? Or you can also type in the same line.
Employee ID.
Okay. Where? What is where condition? What is the use of where condition? To filter the data. Okay. To filter the data. Where?
Filter.
Employee ID equal to whatever the value entered by the user. Or you can also hard code like this here, EMP 100. You can also hard code the value like this, or instead of hard coding it, you can pass the parameter name here. Okay. I will break this select statement into multiple lines just for look and feel, for better readability. Okay. What next? If the select statement is successfully executed, the data will be copied to WAEMP data work area from database table, right? The select statement will fetch that specific record, and it needs to keep that data in work area, right? How do you know that select statement is successfully executed or not? There is no guarantee, right? Whatever the value.
Can we give right?
Yeah, that is to display the output. But
Right,
before
right
that,
statement.
yeah, that is to display the output. Right statement will
Out.
just display the output. But before displaying the output, how do you know that the select statement is successfully executed or not? Whatever the value you
If
provided,
statement.
that value may not be available in the table, right? The input what you are passing here, the employee ID, that may not be available in the table, right? In that case, what will happen? The select statement will fail,
If statement.
right? Because the
Actually,
value what you are expecting is not available in the table. But how can you capture that status?
If
We can
if
use
statement.
sub RC
by
check.
passing a condition.
We have a system variable called sy-sub RC. If we can use this condition using if statement, if sy sub RC equal to 0, what does that mean? Is it successful or failure?
Successful.
Successful.
Sub RC equal to 0 means always the previous statement, not only select We can use sub RC check for different other statements also. If sub RC equal to 0, that means the previous statement is successfully executed. If it is not equal to 0, the previous
Unsuccessful.
statement is not successfully executed. It is failed. Okay. If it is equal to 0, then display the output, right? WA underscore EMP data. Okay. Clear? Execute the program. By default, I am providing one employee ID value. You can also change it. Now execute. It is able to select one record. EMP 100, name of the employee, city and phone number. Where is date of join? I think, yeah, this is the date of join. 2024-01-02. It is combining, almost combining it. Okay. So it is selecting all the fields of the table, right? Now I'll introduce one small statement, small process, that is debugging. That is debugging. Going forward, I'm going to explain in most of the classes. Don't worry if you don't understand it in today's class. But see, the program is executing, right, in background. When we click on execute, it is
Sir,
executing. Yes.
sir, we cannot end the parameter blocks. End of parameter in the program.
I'm not using selection screen block, right? I just defined the parameter.
Oh,
I'm not using selection screen block, selection screen begin off end off to, to design a frame.
okay,
I'm
sir.
not designing the frame. Okay.
Okay, sir.
That is not mandatory, right? That is just for look and feel. Okay. Yeah. So the program is executing in background, right? The code is executing in background. We don't know which statement executing, how each statements are executing. If you want to see how each statements are executing and how the data is being selected, we can debug the program. What we can do? We can debug the program so that we can stop the program execution and observe how the program is executing each statement. For that, we can keep a breakpoint. What we need to keep?
A
Breakpoint.
breakpoint.
Where we need to keep the breakpoint? Can we keep anywhere? No, only for executable statements. For example, what is this? This is a data declaration, right? And this is a parameter declaration. These are not executable statements. These are just data declarations. We cannot keep breakpoint at data declarations. We can keep breakpoint only at executable statements like this select statement. Now, how to keep a breakpoint? You can see one gray area here, right? Gray line here, right?
Yes.
Sir.
Just click here. It will set a breakpoint. This is called breakpoint. To remove it, again click on that. That is one way. What is the other way of keeping the breakpoints? Break, space, and your username. What is your username? Think best, right? This is the other way of keeping the breakpoint. So why we need these breakpoints? Why we need this debugging? To find any issues or to observe the flow of the program, right? We can execute step by step and observe how the program is being executed. Or in support projects, if there is any issue in the program, how can you find that issue? By debugging the program line by line. Okay. For now, we'll use a normal breakpoint. So to keep the breakpoint, what is the option? Click here in the gray area in that executable statement. Okay, before that executable statement. Now execute the program, provide some input. I'll provide 101 and execute now. Now debugger is triggering. Now what is it triggering? Debugger. This is debugger. It will stop the program. It won't complete the program execution. So wherever you keep the breakpoint, it will stop there. Right? Now, always make sure for now you are in desktop 3. Double click on the parameter name. Double click on the parameter name. Double click. You can see that parameter and the value what we have entered in the parameter. Double click on the work area name. What do we have in work area? Double click on the work area here in the tabular format. Double click. Do we have any values in the work area?
Sir.
Observe the work area fields. It is same as table, right? It is same as
Yes, sir.
database table, right? In the same order,
Yes, sir.
same fields in the same order, right? Because we have taken a complete table reference to define the work area, right? Double click. So we have empty structure. There is no data in it. Now we need to populate data. Now how to proceed further? How to execute further? Here you can observe F5, F6, F7 and F8. For now, only concentrate on F5 and F8. F5 is for line by line execution. If you press F5, even you can use function keys in your laptop. If you press F5, it will execute line by line, statement by statement. Okay. For now, click F5. Observe the sub RC value also. Here we have sub RC. F5. What is the sub RC? What is the sub RC value? After
Successful.
execution, now controller is a if statement. The select statement is already executed. Sub RC is 0. That means it is successfully executed. It is
Yes,
successfully
sir.
executed. Now check the work area. There should be some record, right? Double click here. The
Sir.
data is populated, right, to the work area. That corresponding record is populated to the work area, right? Press F5 to proceed further and F8 to complete the execution. So we can display the output like this. To observe the program flow, you can debug the program. Okay. Now let's see how to select a single record with the only required fields. Okay. I'll comment this entire thing. To
Sir, how to
select,
comment the entire thing, sir?
sorry.
How to comment the entire program, sir?
Okay. Select everything, whatever you want to comment, and control left arrow in your keyboard. Control left arrow to comment it.
Okay,
To uncomment it,
okay, sir.
control right arrow.
Okay,
Okay.
sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. Now my requirement is I don't want to select all the fields of the table. I want only specific fields which are required. Okay. In that case, what you need to do? You need to define a type structure. Types begin of type structure name. So for example, EMP data. This name can be anything, but always use some meaningful name. Now I need only Control Y. I'm pressing Control Y to copy both field and data element. Type comma. Instead of data element, you can also use individual data types like this. C length 10. You can also use like this if you don't know the data element. If the data element is not available. Okay. Now I need one more field, that is date of join. I don't want rest of the fields. End of ty underscore emp data. I don't want rest of the fields. In my record, I want only 2 fields. Pretty printer. So always use pretty printer to align the program. Now define the work area data w underscore emp data type. What is the type we need to take? ty underscore emp data, right?
Into
And
data.
how to write the select statement for this? Select single and only mention the required fields in the same order. How you maintain fields in the type structure? Maintain in the same order. That is mandatory. emp id and space doj. In some SQL codings, you use comma, right? Between each field, but here we don't
Yes,
use
sir.
comma. Here we write open SQL. Here, but we use comma in advanced syntaxes. We'll show that tomorrow when we are using inline declarations. There we need to use comma. Don't use comma for now. Select single 2 fields, whatever the fields we want to select from which one? From which one? Type structure name or
Table
database
name.
table name? Database table name.
Database table name.
Demo employee into which one? Work area name where emp id equal to p underscore emp id. I'll break this into multiple lines for better readability. Okay. If sy hyphen sub rc equal to 0, that means the select statement is executed successfully. Then display the output. You can use write statement, or we have one more, right? CL demo output.
CL
CL
demo.
demo output arrow mark display and enter the work area name here in between those 2 brackets with single space. Okay, you can use write statement or CL demo output to display the output, to display the sample output. This is a class method. So when we are working on object oriented programming, you will have better understanding on this. For now, just remember this syntax as it is. Okay, or you can also use write statement, write emp data. You can also use that. Keep it and comment it. Okay, execute. Sorry, activate it. There is one error. What is the error? CL demo output is unknown.
So equal to, sir, after output.
Right, correct. Yeah, you are right. Activate it. Now, shall we debug the program? How to debug the program? Once the program is active, keep the breakpoint here. How to keep the breakpoint? Click here in the gray area. It will set the breakpoint. Execute. Provide your input and execute. It will trigger the debug mode. Where is the controller? Is it line number 14? That yellow arrow mark, right? That is the controller. Now it is in line number 14. Now press F5. Initially, observe the work area. Double click on the work area. How many fields we have in the work area?
2 fields.
Only 2 fields, because we are not taking complete table reference. We are using type structure to define the work area with only these 2 required fields. F5, sub RC is 0. Double click on the work area. So 2 fields are populated to work area. Single record with 2 fields is populated to work area, right? F8 to complete the execution. Now your data is like output is like this, only 2 fields with single record. Let me enter some invalid value 109. I don't think employee ID 109 is not there, right? Execute. I'm providing employee 109 as input. F5, press F5 or yeah. What is the sub RC? 4.
Or
Why it is 4?
And meeting.
Because employee ID 109 is not available in the table. So select statement is failed, right? Now it won't display any output. Correct? Remove the breakpoint. Is everyone clear on this? Is everyone
Yes,
clear
sir.
on this?
yes, sir.
Okay. So this is how we write select statement to select single record. Select single. What is the rule to use select single? We should pass all the primary keys of the fields in the where condition. That is the mandatory rule to use a select single statement. If you don't know all the primary keys, then what you need to do? You need to use you cannot use select single. You can use, but it is not recommended. Okay, you have to go with the other alternatives like select statement. We'll see all this.
Sir,
Yeah, one second.